Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. As you've probably gathered from the title of this video, today's video is a what I eat and inject in a day as a type 1 diabetic. Now, I'm about to mention in my little intro soon that I was having some insulin sensitivity fluctuations, which I thought were due to the weather changes. It turns out a few days later that what happened was my insulin sensitivity really increased a few days before filming due to hormonal changes, and then as well as my hormones going back to normal at the same time, I started to come down with an infection, which is why my resistance suddenly went up so high. So although the method I use in this video for working out new basal settings and my approach to basal testing is still the same no matter the situation, the reasons for my insulin fluctuations actually aren't the same as what I thought they were during this video, but I guess that just goes to show how many things there are that can influence our blood sugars and how unpredictable diabetes can be. But yeah, enjoy! Okay, so I'm back from the gym. Apologies about my frizzy post-shower hair, but yeah, I've had a cold shower, so I'm feeling a bit better after the gym. I had a really good session, which was nice, and I'm about to do my breakfast insulin, so I thought I would take you through the decision-making process. And for my breakfast, I'm having what I always have, so I didn't see a point in showing you how I make it because it's on all of my other vlogs, but as this is what I eat in a day, I'll just explain. It's 60 grams of oats and then 25 grams of chocolate peanut butter, protein powder, just over 200 ml of oat milk, and then leave that overnight, and then in the morning, like you've just seen, I add a load of frozen berries on top, microwave it. When it's out the microwave, I add like a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half of seeds, like mixed seeds, and 2 squares of dark chocolate. So that is my breakfast pretty much 6 days of the week. I'm just going to do a scan. So 6.4 post leg day. So my breakfast is 52 grams of carb, and I'm going to have 4 units of insulin. Normally I'd have 4.5 or 5, but I'm just logging it in my Libra app because I'm finding, actually here's a tip, if you log your insulin in your Libra app, you're much less likely to rage bolus because you can see exactly when you last did your injection, and then think a bit more logically. So I've just added it all in there. But yeah, because it's summer, I get a lot more sensitive to insulin in the summer, and I'm currently working out my new basal doses, so that's why I was a little bit elevated last night, because I reduced my basal probably a little bit more than I needed to, so I will up it again tonight. Yeah, I'm going to have a smaller bolus for breakfast and then see how it goes. And then if I need more insulin, I can always take more, but I can't obviously take it away. So I'm going to go with 4 units, and I probably will need 1 or 2 more units later, or half a unit. And then for my long-acting insulin, so I'm going to take that now as well. Like I said, I'm currently working out some new basal rates. The last time I vlogged, I would have probably had 26 units in the morning, I believe, after a workout, or 28 for a rest day. But today was leg day, which is quite intense, and I have been, one moment while I just find somewhere to inject. So I have been going low a lot and having to reduce my bolus doses by about 60% to not go low, and even then I still dip if I haven't eaten for a while. So I'm going to go in with 21 units this morning. I've trialed 24 and that was still too much, and that was on kind of a light activity day, but obviously leg day for me is a very heavy activity day, so I'm taking off 3 more units and we're going to see how that goes. Obviously it might not be right, but I guess you guys will be along for the journey and the daily experimentation that is type 1 diabetes. But yeah, once I've done these injections, I'm going to obviously eat my breakfast, and then I'm only going to do a 5 to 10 minute pre-bolus time, because I have done a leg day. And then yeah, I have at 8:30 I have my coaching call with Talia, so I'll hop on that, and then I will catch up with you after, because there is some stuff I want to talk about with you today. it's been like an hour and a half since breakfast, so I'm just gonna do a little scan to check where I'm at and see if my insulin guesses have been on track. Okay, so 9.8, so I am a little bit out of range, which is a bit annoying, but I didn't have quite as long pre-bolus as I planned because I was running late for my call, and I don't think it's the basal. I think, like I said, I might need extra bolus dose, so I'm going to have one more unit of my bolus now, and hopefully that'll bring down the 9.8 pretty quickly. I'm going to give it an hour and then check again, and seeing if by the end of that hour it hasn't come down, then I will reconsider doing an extra unit of Levemir. But the thing I wanted to talk about today, since I have got back from the gym this morning, is exercising as a type 1 diabetic, because although I have loads and loads and loads of videos on my channel about specific aspects of exercising with type 1 diabetes, whether it's dealing with blood sugar swings before or post workout, or like differences in insulin sensitivity, that kind of thing, a lot of people recently have been asking me simply like, how do you start exercising as a type 1 diabetic? And because exercise is literally one of the best things you can do for your diabetes, I wanted to go into it a bit today because yeah, I think it's really important that us diabetics feel empowered to exercise. So I'm just going to share my my top 3 things that I think you need to think about if you're wanting to start exercising as a type 1 diabetic. And then of course I will leave all those other videos I mentioned down below. But firstly, I think when you are starting anything new as a type 1 diabetic, you need to set your expectations low, because you're never going to get it right first time. Even if you've like exercised before but you're trying a new form of exercise, it's unlikely to go 100% right. I was reminded of this a couple of weeks ago when I joined my work softball team, and I had the biggest insulin blood sugar spike at the beginning of that training session. But now I know what happens. I've created a plan to move forward. So basically, just go in with low expectations and remind yourself that one bad day or one bad moment literally means nothing in the grand scheme of things as a type 1 diabetic. And especially if you're having a bad day because you're trying to do something that is good for you and that is ultimately going to lead to better diabetes control, then it's an amazing thing to do. Because the more you exercise, the more you'll increase your insulin sensitivity, which means needing less insulin, which means it's so much easier to manage your blood sugars the more insulin sensitive you are. So just have that in the back of your mind and remind yourself that not only is it good for your health in general, but you're helping your diabetes in the long run, and it's just a little hiccup along the way. But then with that being said, obviously to reap those rewards, you then need to pay attention to what is happening when things go wrong and analyze the data so that you can then create a plan going forward. So whenever you try a new form of activity or a new exercise, you want to be carefully monitoring your blood sugar levels, any insulin taken, and any food that you eat before, during, and after your exercise, at least 8 hours post-exercise. And if you're doing something like weight training for the first time, then you really want to monitor it closely for 24 hours post-workout or post-activity, because your insulin sensitivity will be affected for a long time post-workout, especially if you're starting out. And I know that monitoring all of that so closely can seem like a real faff and a lot of effort, but you only have to do that a few times until you create your plan, and then you can just pretty much go on autopilot and do whatever your plan has told you to do. So it's kind of short-term pain for long-term gain in that sense. Like, you have to put in a lot of effort at the beginning, but it gets so much easier once you know what you're doing. And the 2 main things to look out for when you're doing this tracking is looking out for increases in insulin sensitivity or any hypos that occur, so you can see when you need to be reducing your insulin doses or increasing the amount of food that you are taking on. Or on the opposite side, you need to be looking out for increased insulin resistance or high blood sugars, so you can see when you need to be upping your insulin. Because although obviously we do burn through glucose as fuel for exercise and for recovery, which is where we might see those blood sugar drops, stress hormones that are released like cortisol and adrenaline while you exercise do cause a blood sugar spike. So it's seeing where each form of exercise tips that balance. Is it producing stress hormones and so you go high, or are you not really seeing those stress hormones and you're just having the dip. So because of these two opposing factors, it means that not every type of exercise is going to have the same effect on your blood sugars. So I find it best to split my exercise into 4 different categories. So I have cardio, I have HIIT or conditioning sessions, I have weight training sessions, and then I have team sports. And then you can make a plan for each of those categories depending on which sports you participate in and how your body reacts to each one of those. So personally for me, if I'm doing cardio, I don't see any form of adrenaline or cortisol spike in my blood sugars because it is lower intensity, so I just drop when I do cardio. Whereas with something like HIIT or weight training, especially if I'm doing a lower body weight training session, I do have quite a big release of stress hormones, and that can cause a blood sugar spike, and so I know that I need to take more insulin before those sessions. But for you, it may be something like if you're doing team sports, even a practice session, maybe you drop, but then on a match day when you're nervous, you have that adrenaline, then you spike, and so you have to have 2 different plans for match day versus training session. Basically, the key is to just monitor as much as you can anytime you try a different form of exercise, and create a plan based on how your body responds. But bear in mind that it definitely won't be right first time, it may not be right second time, and you're just going to have to gradually tweak until you get to the perfect blood sugar profile that you want to be seeing around those forms of exercise. And also bear in mind that as your body adapts and adjusts, so for example, if you're doing weight training session and you're building muscle, that is going to then affect your insulin sensitivity again, and you may need to not necessarily go back to the drawing board, but you will have to make some tweaks and adjustments as you go. But as long as you have the foundations of a solid plan that you have formed based on your own research of your own body, and you can work off of that, you should be good to go. But just go for it, enjoy yourself, and know that you're doing something that is incredibly good for your overall health and for your diabetes. And please do not let diabetes stop you from doing anything, and especially not exercising and enjoying your body. So I'm gonna have lunch in about 15 minutes. I'm gonna have my bagels again with some fake chicken, and then I've got a soup because I stupidly bought soup at this shop, and although this week it's been really hot and I don't want soup, I think today is probably the coolest it's going to be, so I'll have to heat myself up with some soup. Just scanned and 5.7, so it looks like my basal is correct. I just needed a longer pre-bolus and that extra 1 unit with breakfast, but yeah, I was a bit hesitant to do my full insulin given the hypos I had yesterday. So my time and target so far is pretty low, but these periods of transitions are always tricky. Carbs are, I say this every time, but there's 50 grams of carbs technically in my bagel, but with white floured products I only absorb 60% of the carbs, so 30 carbs in that plus 10 carbs in the tangerines I'm gonna have to just for dessert is 40 carbs, and then I have 1 to 8 is my ratio for lunch, which would be 5 units, but I'm gonna go for a walk after lunch, and in that case I split my dose, so I'm gonna have 4 units now, have a 10 to 15 minute pre-bolus, eat, go for my walk, and then have my final unit when I get back. I'm about to just prep my lunch, but I just wanted to show you my meal prep as an idea of how I meal prep without making it like monotonous. So I have my bagels here, and they're kind of the same, but they're gonna last into like next week as well. And then I have my breakfast that I keep all up here, and also had my one this morning, and then I kind of mix it up with sides. So today I'm having my soup, and then each one of these is 2 portions, and then obviously I need my bagel. But then if you just look behind, on other days instead of soup I have vegetable sticks. So in here I've got cucumber and celery, and then I've got carrots in this one, and then red and yellow peppers in this one, and I'll just take a selection from each. And then I normally make sure I have at least 2 different types of lunches done each week, sometimes 3. So if I come through to my other fridge, because we have 2 fridges because the one that came in our flat is tiny. So if we go in here, I then also have prepped some, oh, you can't even see it, but there's some omelettes in here that have got spinach in that have already been ready cooked. There's a couple of those, and then I can just put them in the microwave, and if I feel like it I can grate some cheese on the day. But yeah, those are the kind of things I have prepped. Oh yeah, and then one thing I forgot again is here. So I have some tofu, which I have cooked in some chipotle paste, and then I didn't have enough Tupperware, but when I have some Tupperware back, I can then make that into a toasty and have another lunch ready to go. But basically I just do as much of the prep as I can on a Sunday, and then during the week it's super easy. Okay, so it's about 4:15 and I am ready for my afternoon snack. It's annoying because, so if you've seen my previous vlogs, you'll know that I have been working towards a slight fat loss goal, doing a mini cut, but I only did that for about 5 weeks because I really didn't want to lose a lot. I just wanted to like get some leanness back after the gyms were closed. And so now I'm working back towards being in a surplus to put some muscle back on. But now it's summer, I'm actually not hungry in the heat, so now my calories are going back up, but I'm less hungry, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I'm ready for a snack. Annoyingly, I'm just about out of range. I'm 9.2. I never had my extra unit of insulin after lunch because by the time I went for my walk it was like 2:15, and then when I got back from my walk it was about 2:45, and I was still only about 4.6, and then I've just been busy working, so I completely forgot about it. So annoyingly, it looks like my ratios were correct, but I just didn't do my extra insulin because I'm a moron. So I'm gonna have these, you saw them in my last vlog, the little dark, oh no, they're milk chocolate rice cakes. They're 13 grams of carbs, so I'm gonna have 2 units for that. And I will do that right now. But while I am here, I wanted to talk to you about the sponsor of this video, because this video has really kindly been sponsored by Quin. Now, Quin are a diabetes app which helps you improve your diabetes management by making more informed decisions. So Quin helps you learn from your past insulin and food decisions, and sends you insights throughout the day so you can make better decisions going forwards based on your past trends and all of the analysis that Quin does for you. But more than being just a diabetes app, Quin is all about raising awareness of diabetes, talking about taboo diabetes subjects, and changing the aesthetic of diabetes and the way we're portrayed in the media, and just empowering people with diabetes. So they have an amazing website with a great blog on so many different diabetes topics, including diabetes and stress, relationships, diabetic imagery and the way we are portrayed in the media, and the latest tech innovations surrounding diabetes. Quin's Instagram is also an amazing place to be as well. They post about so many different things, including diabetes and diabulimia and the presence of eating disorders in the diabetes community. They talk about diabetes and relationships, diabetes and sex, and addressing and trying to dismantle the unhealthy emphasis on perfection within the diabetes industry. And I can't believe diabetes industry is actually a thing, like there's people making money off of this, but whatever. And just helping us to be more than just diabetics and speaking to us on a human level rather than just people with a chronic illness that other people can make money from, basically. Quin is a great space for encouraging us, providing tips and information, and just helping us live our best, fullest lives as type 1 diabetics. So as well as being a diabetes app, which I think is amazing for empowering people to feel confident eating the things they want to eat, drinking what they want to drink, doing the things that they want to do, Quin is everywhere within the diabetes space, breaking taboos, recreating and reforming the diabetes image, and just helping build the community even stronger. So the Quin app and their website will of course be linked in the description box. So now it is time for me to take my insulin. I'm going to wait for about 15 minutes and then get going on these little rice cakes. So I am about to make dinner, a bit later than I planned. I'm hungry, and I've also had to take another unit of insulin, so I think maybe my 11 minutes this morning wasn't quite right. I'm around 9, so I just needed one more unit to kind of hopefully get me back down before we do eat dinner. So I've taken that, and I'm finally going to start cooking now after 20 minutes of faffing around, and we're going to be making chicken schnitzel from the Sarah's Day Sunny app, because I figured I've spent the money on the app, I may as well make some things from it. And I'm going to have it with a side of homemade potatoes. So I've weighed out my homemade chips. So I've weighed out my potatoes. I'm just going to prepare my baking tray for those with some low calorie spray. Get those chopped up, and then I can get going on the chicken. Okay, so they should take around, hopefully, 25 minutes to cook. I don't know how long my chicken's going to take. Normally if I cook a whole breast, it takes around 25 minutes, but I'm going to cut them up quite small. So I better get going on my schnitzel stuff. So we have ground almonds going in here. I'm just going to finish off my bag with those. And I don't have as much as the recipe calls for, and I also don't have any breadcrumbs, and I really do not have the mental energy right now to make breadcrumbs, which sounds ridiculous because it's super easy to do. So instead, I'm just going to add some flour, which is nothing like breadcrumbs, but it's kind of my next best option. So I'm going to add some flour. The recipe wants 2 tablespoons of oregano. I'm out of oregano. And then it says 2 teaspoons of sweet paprika. I only have smoky paprika. And I'm going to take 2 teaspoons as 1 tablespoon, so I feel like it's basically the same thing. Okay, well, my paprika is off somehow. And I don't have any more, so I guess we'll just be having oregano. So this is really not the same recipe anymore, but we'll go with it. And in the other one, we have 2 eggs going into the wet mixture, and then a dash of milk. It says a tablespoon, but I'm just gonna eyeball it. And then, weirdly, we're putting crushed garlic into the wet mixture. So I will just prepare that now. I can't be bothered to keep moving my camera, so I'm just going to crouch down for a sec and tell you that now I'm going to chop up my chicken into hopefully 12, and then it's just dip in the wet and then dip in the dry. Okay, so they are all coated. I decided to do fewer of them and bigger ones. Annoyingly, there was way too much egg mixture, and I'm just gonna have to throw this away now because I have absolutely nothing to do with it. So I'd recommend, if you're making this recipe, just use 1 egg for kind of 4 portions worth. So these are going to go in the oven. The chips have been in for about 10 minutes, so I'm going to put these in. I have no idea how long they're going to take, but I will let you know how long they took once they're done. And then while those are in the oven, I'm just going to prepare our veggies. I'm just going to stir fry a load of green veg, and I'm going to hopefully end up with enough for 4 portions. So I've got a bag of pak choy, I've got about half of a cabbage left, and then a whole broccoli. It might not be quite enough, but we'll see. I'm just going to literally chop it all up. I'm going to fry it in a wok with some lemon or lime juice, sweet chili sauce, and some soy sauce, and just make, like a nice veggie side. Right, okay, so veggies are all prepped and ready to go, and I think the chips are about 5 minutes away, and the chicken maybe 10. So I'm going to do my scan now and see where we're at, and I think I might be ready for my bolus. So there we go, 7.4. So yeah, that 1 unit was just what I needed. I am 55% in target at the moment. Boy, do I love BASAL testing. Can't wait to get my pump. But yeah, so this meal is 40 grams of carb, and that would normally be between like 3.5 units of insulin. I am going to go on a walk after dinner, but not for a little while, maybe like half an hour after dinner. So I think I'm going to do 2 units of insulin now, then cook up the veggies, wait for the chicken to be done. And there we go, all done. I am so glad to be out of that hot sweaty kitchen now. But we've got the stir-fried veg, obviously the chips, nice and herby, and then the chicken. The smaller pieces took 20 to 25 minutes, and then I had some quite chunky ones which took near a half an hour. Okay, so we just got back from our post-dinner walk, which was really nice, and I'm going to do my scan for my before-bed snack / dessert. I've got a fair few calories that I can still get through this evening, which is nice. So 6.7. So very happy with that. We've got some Halo Top ice cream, and I just really want something to cool me down, but I am worried that I'm just going to want this every single day, and I can't eat ice cream every day because that's expensive. But it's Monday, so I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to have some Halo Top ice cream, and then also a Options chocolate milk, so like the Options hot chocolate that I mentioned in my low carb snacks video. And then instead of making it into a hot chocolate, just put it with oat milk and mix it, make it into a chocolate milk, which is really nice. So I'm going to have that, which is about 50 carbs. That would be 4 units of insulin, and I do still have the 1 unit left over from dinner. So I'm going to do 4 now, because also ice cream can be quite slow digesting, and then I'll do 1 more unit a bit later. So it's 8:30 now, so probably 9:30 I will do the other unit, but I'm going to give it a good 15-minute pre-bolus. I did my site change because my Libra runs out tomorrow, so I've got that nice inner arm site going on today. And then yeah, for my Levemir experiment today, I feel like I just needed 1 more unit to keep me that little bit below my range, because I have been like on the borderline between being in range and above range all day, which is slightly frustrating because my timing target isn't very good, but I know that the numbers aren't actually that bad. It's just the way things go sometimes. So I think tomorrow I've got a training day for upper body, and I did 21 this morning, so I think I'll try 22 tomorrow. And then for this evening, like I said, I did 14 last night and I was a bit above range, so I'm going to do 15 Levemir tonight, and hopefully that keeps me better in range. But yeah, basal testing is never easy, so if you're going through a similar thing with insulin sensitivity fluctuating now that it's hot, know that you're not alone, and I hope you find your new basal rate soon. But yeah, that is it for this video. A big thank you again to Quin for sponsoring. Go and check out their socials and their website, because there's so much amazing information, support, campaigning, awareness raising, all things type 1 diabetes. They are an amazing company. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.